Well, there are a few existing claviers planted under these phytosterums in this zone, and the designer has put a note in their clavier or clivier transplant to the base of the photinia. To put the claviers in, it's library plants and named, and I'll start up here. Go to the plants section, instead of looking in the standard section, look in the named section, and there's a representation of what a clavier might look like. So we'll insert that into the drawing, and you might want to scale that a little. Looks a bit small to me. We'll bring it up and just check its size. Remember, everything is full size, so that's about 1/2 metre, which is reasonable. So there's a whole range of them there. Copy, paste, paste, paste. So that's the group that is going to be transplanted. I think copy one more from there through to there, and we need to add a line from there pointing to the clavier. We'll keep polar on, so we'll make that line horizontal. And because I'd left the drawing colour at magenta, I need to change that and say that line should be drawn by layer. One of the criticisms of computer-aided design landscape drawing is things look a bit too artificial and regular. It's a good idea to say, in this case, I'll come over here and click on 2, the plus sign, so I can grab these cliviers, and it's a good idea just to rotate them around so they're all at a different angle. And if you can scale them as well, it's being very fussy, but just varying the rotation angle and the size of symbols is a good idea. We could do the same here. Can you see I can spin that one around? I can copy, it's a fatsier, and just change the scale a little. Bring it down, make it a little smaller. It just gives us a more realistic and more artistic view. At the front of the shed and by the corner here, the designer has noted an existing callistemum which he's thinking of replacing with an olive. But if you want to leave that as a callistemum, you might want to pick that symbol, right click, and say I'm going to edit that block. Where the tips here are pink in colour, let's change that to red, because the callistemums are distinctly red, although that red is a little too intense. Let's choose from the standard set of colours a different red, maybe not quite as stark. That one will do, and then we'll use modify match properties, pick up the properties from that one and just work our way around. I'm picking each of these individually at the moment, but I could wrap a box around, say, those two. Still not getting two at once, and that's a little quicker. There's a group here, and we can pick all of those, I think. So you can see the window way of picking these can be a little easier. And we're done. And I'll close the block editor. Now that symbol's been updated and looks a little more realistic. Well, our design is nearing completion. I'd just like to indicate this grassed area in here, and to do that I'll choose a polyline. That's a flexible line, so I'll just indicate that the area enclosed by this polyline, and I'll right click and pick close. I've got polar on, so that was a fairly squared off polyline, and I'll set quadratic B-spline, otherwise so I get a softer curve for grass. Then I'll draw and hatch it. I'll pick the polyline and I'll choose the grass hatch pattern. So I clicked on this down arrow here and chose the grass pattern, and we'll set an angle of 0 and a scale of 100. That gives us a density of 2. They're not accurate units, just an arbitrary density, and I think the grass symbol's a little bit large, and I've got a better version of it here. So this one over here is a scale of 50, so let's click in here and make that also a scale of 50. Now the hatching is associative. That means that we can just move it around by grabbing the handles here to get whatever shape we want. Once we've done that, I can eliminate it. You might wish to select the hatching and use tools and put it to the back so it goes underneath the text grass. So you could change the colour if you wanted to. Both those could be changed to some sort of green colour. Let's pick one of these. So we've got green through there. So we're pretty complete. Let's go to our layout. There's our layout page. We're indicating grass there, we're indicating grass through here. We could hatch the whole area, but it's an overkill. And all we now need to do to finish up is just to zoom in here. I'll turn line mode off at the moment, but you'll need it when you print, is to pick the title block and edit the block and jump in here and add text for the client details and so on. You might want to put your own details for your design consultancy in there. When that's done, close the block editor. I'd also, let me zoom extents, I'd also pick this floating viewport here and make its colour white 255 so the border won't show. So we are ready to plot. Let's do a final print. File, save as a PDF, window, high, OK, and we'll put a box around all of that, and we'll go to the desktop and we'll call it test and overwrite one that's already there, and we are making a little PDF. Now it may be fairly faint as it is here. I'll kill that and just go back to the status line, turn on line weight and print again, or save as PDF. Again, it will remember the previous settings apart from picking the box like so, and we'll pick test. And as I look at that, I can see there's our drawing, very nice. Control L gives us full size. So I'm very happy with that, apart from the need to put in a north indicator and a scale bar. The mud mat does show the direction of north, so I can go to library, details, scroll down to north points, just pick the north point that I'm happy with, and then insert that into the drawing. We can then rotate it around to match it, and we'd want to scale it down. It's a little too big, so we've got it highlighted so we can scale. I'll bring that down to 0.25. And then move that into position down here in the drawing. The last thing to do is to bring in a scale bar. So it's library, details, scale bars. Let's have a 5 meter scale bar. That one there will do, and we can insert that into the drawing and pop it down here. I'll swing into our layout just to check how that looks, and they're clashing a little with the logo and title block information, so there's plenty of space. We could move it over here to the left in the design. So I'll grab those two, right click and move and put it like so. Come back to our layout, and that has all the information in it, I think, that we need and should print quite nicely, and that completes the project.